Do you have a great idea for a video game? Great. The problem is, everyone else does too. We often think that having a great idea means you find a team to make that great idea, and then you make a great game. But that's backwards. Ed Catmull, the former president of Pixar, has a great quote about this. If you give a good idea to a mediocre team, they will screw it up. If you give a mediocre idea to a brilliant team, they will either fix it or throw it away and come up with something better. So the real order should be this. You find a great team, you come up with a great idea, and then you make the great game. I know what you're saying though, but Cleveland, that's me, so many great games are made by one person.
Yes, but actually no.
Even the greats, like Toby Fox, had others to help out on Undertale. Sure, Concerned Ape solo developed Stardew Valley, but he eventually got help with ports, multiplayer, and updates. That isn't to say they weren't instrumental in the development of those games. Neither Undertale nor Stardew Valley would have existed without them. But it does show that even if you are a 1 in a million, if not billion, genius game developer like Toby or Concerned Ape, you'll likely end up working on a team. Of course, we all have trauma from awful group projects in school. So how do we avoid that? You might think that you just need to look for the talented and qualified people. That is important, but it is secondary. The actual thing you need to look for in a team member is trust. A team member who finishes their work, communicates their process, is open to sharing and receiving feedback, and is pleasant to work with is infinitely better than a genius who may or may not disappear from a project. Of course, if you expect this out of your team members, you should practice it yourself. One of the pieces of advice you'll hear the most in the industry is to not be a jerk. After you find those you can trust, then you can prioritize talent. But that does beg a new question. How do you find team members you can trust? That's a question for another day, but do you agree with me? Do you think that trust is the #1 thing you should look for when finding team members?